We have major news this afternoon. The United States Pentagon, under Secretary Pete Hegseth, has issued an order to the National Guard of all 50 states across the country to start developing what they're calling quick response groups, made up of about 500 National Guardsmen in each state, totaling 23,500 members of the National Guard. They will be trained in the use of batons, use of shields, use of pepper bullet guns, and more in an effort to quell what they describe as future civil unrest. These rapid response teams will be allowed to be essentially surged into areas of protest, into areas of unrest, into wherever the Trump administration wants to. And it comes at a time where the Trump administration is actively turning the National Guard into the president's police force. There are many cases currently being litigated over whether or not Donald Trump even has the authority to deploy the National Guard in certain states. But what we are recognizing is that the Pentagon is moving forward with creating this quick reaction force across the country in all 50 states. And critics are warning right now that this could be laying the stage for a nationalized militarized police force, potentially enabling federal deployment of troops to Democratic-led states, and in the worst-case scenario, even interference in elections under claims of voter fraud, where the Trump administration may declare a national emergency, surge members of these quick reaction forces into states across the country, specifically blue states, and have them seize ballots from secure voting facilities. That's what one expert says is the worst case scenario under this situation. And like I said, it happens as the administration's currently battling in the courts over whether or not it's even able to deploy the military on the streets. The Supreme Court is currently considering whether or not Trump can deploy the United States military to Chicago. The Ninth Circuit is currently deciding whether or not the Trump administration could deploy the National Guard to Portland. And there'll likely be more cases as Donald Trump himself starts sending more troops across American cities. And it comes as a Washington Post investigation found that the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security is actively using misleading and repurposed footage in at least 6 official videos that they have used to promote its immigration and law enforcement agenda. The clips, they often depict chaos, protests, or ICE raids. Well, they were filmed months before, sometimes thousands of miles away from the events they were said to represent. So, for example, they're using clips from Miami to talk about situations on the ground in Portland. And it's showing a very different situation from what reality actually is on the ground in many of these cities. And what's telling is the Department of Homeland Security and the White House did not actually dispute the findings. They framed the videos as part of their social media strategy to highlight, quote, successes. But experts and former officials are warning that the use of misstated and misattributed footage erodes public trust, blurs the line between government communication and straight-up propaganda. Some of the videos even use journalist footage without credit or altered image to remove anti-ICE messages. The pattern shows a deliberate message, a deliberate attempt to manipulate perception through emotionally charged visuals. Now, it's setting up this perfect storm, and it's something that's important that people know and report on. That's why we're breaking through echo chambers. We're reaching Republicans, Democrats, and independents with this reporting. So please subscribe today to support my work or send a one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas to keep it going. So this perfect storm, essentially, what is happening is the Trump administration is using these misattributed videos, misleading videos, to set the stage for sending in the now soon to be these quick reaction forces that every single state across the country is preparing or is being forced to develop. And so you're going to have the president's personal police force in the form of the National Guard, quick reaction forces, going into cities where there may not actually be any issues or any emergencies. Why? Well, because the Department of Homeland Security is using footage that isn't actually from those cities or wasn't actually filmed at the time they say they were filmed. And well, guess who is actually watching these videos? Folks like the President of the United States. Because these videos get picked up on Fox News. Donald Trump watches Fox News. He sees chaos. He thinks there's chaos, when in reality there isn't chaos, sends in the National Guard, and then you have judges saying, well, the president's reality is simply untethered to what's actually happening on the ground. It comes as the Justice Department today placed 2 federal prosecutors, Carlos Valdivia and Samuel White, on administrative leave after they referred to January 6 participants as a, quote, mob of rioters. So the truth, in a court filing for Taylor Tarrento, a Trump-pardoned Capitol attacker later convicted on weapons and hoax-related charges. Donald Trump escalated his attacks on former special counsel Jack Smith, calling him a criminal who should be put in prison, demanding investigations of his perceived political enemies. And Senator Alex Padilla today from California, along with his Democratic colleagues, issued a letter to the administration warning the administration not to use a national emergency to seize control of elections after the hiring of Stop the Steal lawyer Kurt Olson to investigate the 2020 vote. They called Olson's appointment part of a potential unconstitutional scheme to federalize state election systems and urged the White House to prevent any illegal or unethical interference. So it's all kind of coming together. If you are seeing it's happening in the courts, it's happening in the executive, it's going to happen in the Pentagon, on the streets. It's all kind of lining up. And this is not something that you should just look away from or ignore. And unfortunately, far too many in the mainstream media are looking away and are ignoring. They're just saying it's just Trump being Trump. But I want you to take a step back and imagine if President Joe Biden ordered the United States National Guard in all 50 states to begin creating quick reaction forces to target protests across America. And then at the same time was deploying fake videos, misleading videos on social media in an effort to paint a picture that simply does not exist about the realities of the cities on the ground. And at the same time, appointing election denials, people who don't believe that the election was legitimate, to top roles in the executive branch. These people advocate for declaring a national emergency when it comes to elections, to try to federalize state and local elections. They are now in the top echelons of American government. Imagine if it was President Biden doing this and not President Trump. The media would run with it like a wildfire. But there is silence. And that's why I need your help to spread the word, to get this far and wide. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you soon with more updates, more news, more to come. Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.